This is the Sony A7S II, great camera. Everybody knows that this camera is a low light beast. Now, autofocus, not so great though. And we have had this camera for a few years now here at church, and it's worked great for what we have to do, but I think it's time to move on. This camera is really old, and I tell you a few reasons why we're moving away from it. The first reason is the autofocus. You might as well say that there is no such thing as autofocus in this camera. It's kind of real bad, really. You cannot trust it if you're on events. Now you tell me, well, you know, you're a professional, you should be shooting manually focused, and I agree with you. But there are moments where you want to throw this camera on a gimbal and just focus on the action that is happening. You don't want to be like, oh, what's happening here? Like, oh, we did all of that shoot and half of it is out of focus. You don't want that to happen to you. And there are cameras from Sony like the A7 III that has really good autofocus, and even better, the replacement for this camera, which is the A7S III, has a great autofocus, and it's even better than the A7 III that came before. And it's as good as in low light, if not better. So yeah, this camera has rendered itself like not usable just because of the autofocus. Other things that it doesn't have are SD slots. It only has a one SD card slot, which can be okay. It never fell on me, but it's always nerve-wracking to know that your camera, if that memory card that you have in your camera fails, you're doomed. There's nothing else. And that's scary. Like, I try to shoot everything, like right now I'm shooting on 3 different cameras, and they are doing redundancy, so I can trust that if one goes out, I have the backup, but you cannot do that with this. Now, the third reason this camera is not that great is the battery life. The battery life is meh. You know, you are gonna need like at least 3 if you are a whole day shooting out there, and let alone if it's too hot, this camera might die on you. It just could overheat, depending if you're in the summer day out there trying to get, let's say, a wedding, or if you have a project that's you're shooting and you have to be under the sunlight, chances are it might overheat or it might drain the battery even faster. So those 3 things are for me enough not to recommend it. Now, if today you are here and you're saying, oh, I want a camera, but I cannot buy an A7S III, or I cannot buy even the A7 III, and this one, someone has a second hand for like, let's say, up to $1,200, this is a good option. Now, if no one has, you cannot find it, everybody's asking like $1,500, I would recommend you to try to find the A7 III, which is way better camera for autofocus, has a great battery life, and does not overheat, period. So those 3 things will make me tell you, just go for an A7 III. Now, if you have money for an A7S III, by all means, go and buy it. But this camera is gonna go. We probably will replace it with the A7S III, or right now with the FS5s that we're shooting have better codecs, especially if we record externally to a monitor. So it gives you up to 12-bit RAW, or it gives you 10-bit on 4K 60p, so which is a great advantage. So yeah, no reason to keep this camera around for any longer. Getting rid of it. Thank you for watching.